I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would any commissioners like to deliver an invocation?
Bill?
Commissioner Thompson?
Okay. Father God, we thank you today for the port, waterway, and beaches that you have provided for us and put in our care. Please give us wisdom and common sense to continue to protect and provide for the use of these resources by our community. We thank you for those resources, and we hope to be good guardians of them for you. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call?
Commissioner Rivers, he will be a little late. Commissioner Way?
Here.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Bender?
Here. Adoption and approval of agenda. Do any commissioners have any modifications to the agenda that they'd like to make?
Good.
No? Do I have a motion to approve as written?
Make the motion.
So moved. And a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Great. Public comment. We have no members of the public here. Government representative comments. I see a few government representatives. Who's got a comment?
Good afternoon. Rich Michaud, St. Louis County Sheriff's Office. I'm speaking on behalf of Lieutenant Bill Miller for FWC, who is called away for a missing child. He wanted me to make y'all aware that in the last month, the Derelict Vessel Task Force has removed 5 derelict vessels from the waters of St. Johns County. So we're very proud of that, and very proud of Lieutenant Miller's leadership on that task force. In addition to that, he wanted me to speak about Blessing of the Fleet, which is coming up this Sunday. All plans are in order. Weather's going to be a bit sporty, so we're aware of that. We have some extra measures in place to kind of mitigate any dangers we have around the bridge. And same plan as last year. It's going to be a huge success, and we look forward to it.
Thank you. Any questions?
Anything?
No.
No? Thanks very much.
Anything at all? Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.
Any other government representatives?
Corey Sackard, City of St. Augustine. Commissioners, I was going to follow on with the Blessing of the Fleet. The marinas made preparations, so they set up on the dock. They have some stands there. Also, with the marina, construction has been completed on the breakwater dock, which this commission has generously provided emergency funding for. We're still continue working with invoicing coming in, but we're also working with FEMA along with our contract and one change order. We're trying to get FEMA to cover as much as possible and then adjust what the port has given us in funding and then possibly returning some of those funds back. So we're still working through that side of it, but construction is complete. This month, the city has turned into the Florida Inland Navigation District our application for the salt run dredging, which this commission has also assisted us in funding the match for that. So I believe in June, we'll be doing a grant defense for that project also. And I had one other item that I wanted to mention, but it escapes me now.
Well, if you think of it, you can come back up.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you. Anybody else? Carl?
Carl Blow, the Florida Inland Navigation District. Hello, Commissioners. Just want to give you an update on our dredging activity by ourselves and the Corps in the Matanzas area. We should be wrapping that project up here probably at the end of April. With change orders, it appears that we will remove 531,000 cubic yards from the intercoastal there in that area. And all that material went on the beach in the breach area. Other than that, I haven't received any complaints. I don't know, the Corps may have had some noise complaints, but that's pretty typical of our operation. Other than that, as Corey mentioned, it looks like what we'll be receiving in fine grants from this area, from, St. Johns County, which is basically the city of St. Augustine and the county itself. We, of course, as Corey mentioned, we have the Salt Run dredging grant, which is a $300,000 grant, and this board is providing the local match of $100,000, and that's one of those rare situations where you only need a 25% match. Pretty much everything else in our program requires a 50% local match. Also, the city is coming in with a grant application for Eddie Vickers Park, which is basically a kayak launch, paddleboard launch, which I think, and Corey might help me out on this, is back a number of years ago, right before all the hurricanes hit, this board, I think, agreed to provide a local match for this particular project, and it went to, the fine application was approved, and it was on track to get built, and then the hurricanes hit. And of course, we all had to adjust to that, and the city basically came to find and asked for some emergency funding to get the fuel dock back up and running. The money that was allocated for this project was used to respond to the hurricane, get the marina back up and running, and I think you guys, this board, reallocated your local match to respond to the hurricane damage to the marina. So that project, was basically put aside. It's a very popular project for the city. So the good news is their community redevelopment agency for Lincolnville, and I won't get into defining how those things work, but basically they're going to provide the local match, is my understanding. And of course, they're coming to find, and that grant amount is $175,000, and it's a 50% match. So the good news is a project you guys supported originally is now going to be funded by actually the taxpayers within Lincolnville, if I guess you can make that statement. I won't get into how those agencies work, but at any rate, that's the other grant application we're expecting to see from the city. From the county, I expect to see 2 grant applications, which it's my understanding their local match is coming from county funding. One is the Butler boat ramp west. They want to expand the dock down there, and that's a $350,000 grant. And then the other one is Riverdale boat ramp, which is over on the river. Is a number of years ago they came in. Apparently, that's a very popular ramp, and they didn't have sufficient parking, so they ended up buying a piece of property to expand their parking lot, and we helped them buy that piece of property. And so now they've come in, they've, I guess, got all the required permits, and they're coming in for a construction grant to actually build the additional parking, and that too is a $350,000 grant. So, and it's my understanding the local match is coming from county funds. I don't know exactly what pocket, maybe impact fees, but they apparently have the funding. So if you add all that up, the 4 grants that I'm aware of right now, it's $1,175,000 of grant requests. And I'm thinking, of course, you never know how much money we'll have available at Fine for this program. I think last year it was about $14 million, and we pretty much funded everybody last year if they had their permits in place. And basically the amount of money, assuming nothing strange happens, that figure should be about the same. And based on the formula we use to determine how much funding is available for a particular county, St. Johns County was last year was $1,050,000 was available. And based on the growth that we're having here and the amount of real estate values that are increasing the tax rolls, I'm kind of hoping that at least we have a potential of having $1,175,000 available for the county in total. And of course, this is assuming that these 4 grants score high enough that they're above the cutoff for whatever amount, say $14 million we allocate to the program. So anyway, it's looking pretty good. I mean, the actual cutoff date for submittal of the applications is the end of this month. And as far as I think the city's got one of those already down there. The Eddie Vickers should be going out any minute, and I know the county's going to get theirs down there. So other than that, if any questions? Nope. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl.
Hey, Carl, are you going to be here for a little while, or are you leaving, or?
I can be here.
Okay, because there's something on the agenda.
Oh,
for me
yeah,
that
I was
you could
curious
maybe
about
help me
that.
with.
Sure,
Huh?
yeah.
Okay, thanks, Carl.
Great. Thank you. Any other government representative comments? You remembered. All right.
The last thing I had was for access to the waterways. The marina is also has just extended the agreement with the folks at the Now Foundation with the Spanish tall ship there, the Now Trinidad. So that will be staying here instead of till late spring. It'll be here till July 15th. So we've just executed that agreement. I guess they're having a good time down here in St. Augustine. So we're going to have that available to the public for midsummer.
Very good.
As long as it doesn't go under the bridge.
Much better location than it used to be.
Yeah. That'll be great for the holidays.
Absolutely. Next up is Secretary Treasurer's Report. Elise?
Yes. Okay, the city police law enforcement overtime of the 8,000 committed, 2,590 was spent. St. Johns County Sheriff's Department overtime of the 25,000 committed, 7,982. On the derelict boats, we've spent 4,339. The channel marker repairs, 9,470 of the 10,005. In the Florida State Board of Administration Fund A, we have 23,864. In the operating account, we have 703,262. It was 900. I moved 200,000 over to the money market. In the money market account, we have 1,115,23. And let's see. And then for the taxes budgeted, we budgeted 716,620. We received 661,107. So we're expecting $55,513. So pretty much most of it's in. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Any questions on any of that? No? So next is approval of minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review last meeting's minutes? Chris, you weren't here, so I don't think you're allowed to vote. But do we have any motions, or any modifications, rather? And if not, a motion to approve as written?
Moved.
So moved?
Second.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye. Great. Here we go. Engineering report.
Couple of quick updates for the board. The Ponte Vedra Beach Restoration Project is under mobilization right now. Michler's Beach access is closed. It's closed earlier this week, and they're going to reopen next. I think they're closed through next Thursday, so they'll open again Friday for Easter weekend. And then if they need, if they haven't completed mobilization, they'll close it again after Easter weekend for as long as they need. And then once the project's going, the access should remain open. That's a $38.6 million nourishment project there, and it should run through, I believe, August. So there'll be periodic closures of the beach access throughout the summer. Porpoise Point armoring is almost done. All the sheet pile apparently has been driven. They're working on the cap, and so that should be wrapping up here in the next couple of weeks. And the beach project out here at St. Augustine Beach by the pier is they ran into a snag. There's some equipment that needed to be mobilized and delayed about 3 to 4 weeks. Should begin pumping in early April, so they should get started again. And that one also should be wrapping up in August. So that's all I have.
Very good. Any questions for Ken? No? That brings us to old business, salt run, no wake signage, all commissioners. I asked that this would be put on. Obviously, last week, Pat Harvey, who's not here today, told us that someone had taken a sign off of one of our channel markers in Salt Run and replaced it with a no wake sign or a low speed sign, and we needed it replaced. Chris, did you have a chance to talk to Yelton about that yet?
The last meeting when I was late, I did speak to him, and he said he was gonna, I guess, take it down. I don't know if he did or not.
Oh, okay. So we need to ask him about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's really we're looking for an update. So we need to get in touch with Pat Harvey then. So maybe I will I'll give him a call, and I can let y'all know what he says. I don't have anything else to say on that. I just was looking for an update. So does anybody have anything else they want to discuss about that? No, so we can move on to new business then. We have a resolution that's been requested by the Supervisor of Elections. I believe it's a resolution just stating whose seats are up for re-election. Is that right?
Yes, sir. This is something requested by the Supervisor of Elections each election cycle. The first section of the resolution just gives all the current names and addresses of each commissioner. Second section identifies seats scheduled for election in 2024, which are seats 2 and 4, Mr. Bender and Mr. Way. And section 3 outlines the terms of office for each seat, and section 4 outlines when the new commissioners will assume office, which would be November 15, 2024, which is the 10th day following the general election. It is purely something that is requested by Ms. Oaks to help her carry out her duties. Nothing within this resolution changes any fact pertinent to the district. Normally with a resolution, dotting all I's, crossing all T's, the whole thing will be read into the record. Given the personal addresses listed on here, my suggestion would be it simply be a yes or no as to whether the resolution be adopted, but if the commission would like, I can read the entire thing in.
Yeah. You sent us this resolution a couple of weeks ago at this point, I think. Did everybody have a chance to review it?
It's just verifying the facts as they stand. There's no.
I actually have, I've got 4 draft copies with me. Mr. Bender had some changes that I incorporated.
But it's not asking who's running this term. It's just.
No,
as we are
just,
now.
yeah.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
gotcha.
These are all identical copies.
thank you.
And you can inspect them, and we have more than enough copies between the 4 of those for one to be executed and be in the records. But that, so you can all see what it is, if you are so inclined, any of you can move to adopt the resolution.
Yeah, I would move to adopt it as written unless anybody has any
I'll second that.
other modifications. So we have a motion and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Great. The last bit of new business is the channel marker replacement. This one dates back a little ways. Chris, there's a bit of a problem though, it sounds like.
The original marker that was hit and gone, I got a call from Taylor Yelton from Yelton Marine Construction, and he needs the coordinates to where to put this channel marker. It's gone. Carl, that's what I was hoping you could answer.
Well, it should be in the permit. I can get that for you, but I have to go back to the office and check. but
Okay.
I'll be happy.
Well, he needs the signage to replace that marker. So does the city or the county, can they make signs for the Port and Waterway?
We have a contract to do.
Oh, you don't do it? Well, come on up. Yeah, come on up.
Corey Sackard, City of St. Augustine. Yeah, a while back we contracted to, with letting the port know that we had a contract available to do both signs and pilings and stuff. And, they came in higher than some of the other quotes, but we still entered into an agreement with them just so we can mobilize should we need to add signs. We utilize them for Hospital Creek. But they do our signs also, and they're
As the
contracted.
port, would the port pay for those signs? Is that our?
Yeah, we have to pay for those signs. Those
Yeah.
are our signs. So,
So, we can get the,
We can get the, if you would like, we can get what the notation's supposed to be on the sign and get a quote for the sign for the next meeting and have that ready for you.
okay. Well, the channel markers, are just the numbers, for the marker. And Taylor Yelton was out in the field, and he said, we will need signage and a location for marker number 8, which is the one that we had agreed to pay him. Remember, I called right from here. And he said and the location for marker 8 and 13 in Salt Run. Is anybody aware that marker 13 is gone?
No, news to myself.
heard that.
Okay, and and then lastly, he said also marker 4 may need replacing, and he sent me a picture of it. And it's leaning,
Yeah.
so he may be able to straighten it up and
Straighten it.
drive it or whatever. And I know these guys very well, and if they can fix that one, they will. But we need to tell them what to do. So I guess what I need to find out is where 13 is, and is it gone? Because they're telling me that it is. And then have the signs made before he even goes to do anything, because otherwise he's going to have to make 2 trips.
With your approval, the city will go back and we'll generate a price with our contract, see how much those 2 signs are. I'll email them to Ms. Kemper, and then she can distribute to the board, so we'll be
Okay,
prepared
that'll
when
be
we come
great.
to the
So I
next
know
meeting.
there's and I'm pretty sure marker 8 was just a number 2. I don't think it had any information, like no wake or.
I'll reach out to Taylor Engineering and we'll verify the coordinates and then any signage on it.
Okay, then what I'll do is I'll ask Taylor about the one that's leaning, and can he straighten it out and jet it down further and save that one? And then I need to give him the location for 8 and 13 if it's missing, along with those 2 signs.
I think, I think Taylor can probably get that, pretty quickly.
Taylor can get us the locations. Y'all can get us quotes for the signs. Yelton is going to have to figure out about 4. And
Well, I'm sure if 13 is in fact missing, he'll replace that one for the same price he's agreed to replace 8. But then number 4, I'll just see, see if you can straighten it out.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Sounds like you got a lot of homework, Chris.
I guess that's it.
Any other discussion on that point? No? Great. Thank you, Corey. Public comment. Again, there are no members of the public here. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoke too soon.
Carl Blow with Public. Since you brought up signage, basically that no wake zone was an FWC permit. And I think there were 2 signs involved in that, like an initial sign that there's a warning that you're about to enter a no wake zone.
That
and
was
then
closer to the
yeah, just
conch
north
house.
of the conch house,
Yeah.
yeah. Those are the only 2 that I can remember, but there should be an FWC permit that describes what the signage is, just like it would describe the coordinates.
I may hop in my boat tomorrow and go into Salt Run and see if I can even see a sign that wasn't even supposed to be there, whether they took it down or not.
Like a homemade sign somebody put?
Well, I know it was a legit looking sign.
Yeah, the picture
Somebody
that
The
Right
last
there.
time I went by there was where I think I used to always see 2 signs, like as you're heading south and you're approaching the conch house, there was a sign that said something to the effect that you're approaching a no wake zone, and then on the next marker there was you are now at the no wake zone. And the idea was you'd get off of a plane between the 2, and it seems to me one of them was missing.
Huh.
It might have been the one that was right that indicated where the no wake
So
zone
when you said the
started.
sign was missing, was the pole just sitting there empty? I mean, the pilot?
Can't remember, I wasn't.
I'm gonna get
paying
in my
much
boat, I'll go up
attention.
there in there tomorrow.
We
Hey,
need to-
Matt, that officer you're talking about, that's the city policeman.
Yeah,
the big
yeah,
guy.
yep.
What's his name?
Pat Harvey?
Do you have his number?
I don't. I was going to get it from Elise. I'm sure she does.
I do,
Let me see.
but
You
I'm
know, I
not
might
sure if
even
I have it on my phone.
That's okay. You can email it to all of us because I think we need to call him about a couple things.
But it should be in the FWC permit. I remember seeing that permit a long time
I've
ago.
got his number.
Oh,
I'll
great.
call him.
One last thing about these, if you don't mind, is,
Yeah, of course.
and I'm not promoting Yelton, but I know in the past, we've had some other contractors, or the port's had some other contractors install day markers or piling, that they were actually dredging contractors, and.
They were what,
They
Carl?
were dredgers. They
Dredgers,
had done a
yeah.
dredging job, and so they gave you a price to do a marker. And so what they had was a long reach backhoe, and they didn't have a sufficient dredge pump to jet the piling down. So bottom line, they didn't get them very deep, and I think that's why those were lost. Whereas Yelton basically has, I think, a 4-inch dredge, a jet pump on that barge.
Plus they got a hammer.
Plus they hammer them in. So the idea is that if you hit it, one Yelton put in, you're not going to knock it over, you're going to break it off. So anyway, just
Okay,
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I have Pat Harvey's number.
I've got his number.
We've got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, thank you.
Rich Bristow, St. County Sheriff's Office. Pat Harvey's on his anniversary vacation until Tuesday,
Oh,
out of town. So.
I'll call him when he gets back.
good to know. Thank you. Any other public comment? Oh, look at this.
Commissioner Way, Chris Passetti, St. Augustine Fire Department. If you get underway, that sign, I believe, is what happened is it was installed backwards. So whenever you're supposed to be resuming normal speed, it's facing like you're
It's-
going out towards the inlet, telling you to slow down. So it would be a no wake or a slow speed
How
all
would
the way
that
to the inlet.
happen?
So I think that's what the
Well, I don't think it got spun. I think the problem was somebody installed a
Installed one.
second one
Yeah.
to make it seem as though the no wake
Yeah,
continues
but
basically all the way up to the
nefariously.
end.
I mean, it wasn't just an accident. by
No,
somebody
no.
back.
This
Yeah,
was
someone went out
someone
of
did
their
it
way to do
intentionally.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And then
Yeah.
13 does not show up on the Navionics chart, so maybe check that on your chart plotter, maybe through the
13 doesn't even show up?
on Navionics app.
Okay, well, I think I'll get in my boat and just go look at it.
Mr. Zakowski?
All right.
Steve Zukowski, 422 Nervia Court, St. Augustine, 32086.
Retire?
Almost 2 years now.
You've been retired for 2 years?
Yeah, that's why the hair's longer. I came here today because it's before blessing the fleet, and I meant to meet Lieutenant Bill Miller here, but they've got a missing boater on the river, so he's over there. Right now, I got a text from him. And then I have to thank Deputy Michaud. And what is your name, new deputy? Sydney Colts. Yeah, they helped me unchristen my new boat a couple weeks ago when I got high and dry in a mud bar down there by the shores.
Oh, no.
It's running better, by the way.
I wouldn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
told, I wouldn't have told
Before he
that.
even threw me a line, he just. But it's running better though now, actually, so it's broken in. Salt Run, that's city limits. So if you look at the bottom of a regulatory sign, in the left corner is going to be your permit number. In the right corner is either going to be a county ordinance, a city ordinance, or if it's a state law, it's going to have a statute, FS, or a FAC, Florida Administrative Code. In that case, it's a city ordinance. So if you look at the permit, you can be able to get the permit number off the sign, and that's within city limits in Salt Run, city ordinance. It was probably reviewed by FWC at some point because you have a marina there with fuel. So typically, when there's going to be a marina in an area dispensing fuel near a waterway, it's not uncommon to be able to get the permit fairly quickly if there's any FWC review. So that's one. The other thing I had a question on, so hasn't been resolved, is still notice that when I'm going into San Sebastian River, that first sign you see on the north side on the right, which is an old sign, it's backwards for one thing. And secondly, it's outdated and it's weathered. The newer signs for the regulatory signs for the slow speed in there don't start till you get close to Cat's Paw Marina by that first dock, I think. And that's something we talked about years ago, because my recommendation was we don't, that area from the ICW out to Cat's Paw near there, it's kind of wide. Manatees aren't in there too much. It's not a manatee's issue. And some people on less traffic days like to go in there and tube with their children. It's kind of a nice place because it's off the beaten path and it's isolated. So I don't know. That's a city issue, and Pat's not here today. So I was going to talk to him about removing that sign, because I've been back there, 4 or 5 times in the last couple of weeks, and it's still there. And it's confusing. It's confusing my friends. It's confusing. My girlfriend's yelling at me that I'm violating the zone, and I said, okay.
Let me ask them, when you mentioned that a legit sign would have the permit number, and
Yep.
if this sign in there is not legit, it won't have anything on it probably. It'll just be
There won't be a permit number. They may have some
bogus.
some false
Yeah.
lettering to make it look, but most of those signs that people put up on their docks that are exactly the same in terms of graphics, no wake or idle zone or slow speed, they won't have, if they're legit, they'll have a permit number in the lower left corner, lower left, and an ordinance or Florida Administrative Code or Florida statute number in the lower right.
Curious who would have done that.
You get a lot of it of homeowners or property owners on certain waterways. They don't like the fact that boats are going through there and throwing large wakes that either overwash their seawalls.
Probably more than likely somebody that goes there and sits on the beach, because, it's all the way over on the far east side, when you're coming into Salt Run.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the story, the whole permanent assault run happened years ago. I think back in the 90s, I might have been an officer here back then. But I know when there's an FWC review, if there's a marina dispensing fuel anywhere near there, it's almost it's checked off, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I don't think so. That brings us to comments by commissioners. Commissioner Way?
No.
Commissioner Thompson?
I was going to mention the blessing of the fleet, which we had mentioned a couple of times. I'll be there, so.
Great. Commissioner Bender?
Just some unofficial updates on Ocean Hammock Park Walkway. They have 2 consultant reports that came in to evaluate the condition of the walkway, and they'll be making a determination on that. And it's going to be in various phases. What I've been told this afternoon is that the first phase will be using their remaining money, that after they have money left from paying the consultant plus our money, to do the phase 1 rehab. It will be done by the end of September, and any long-term work that the engineering report will reveal will show additional costs later on.
Right. I just wanted to briefly mention, I met with County Parks and Rec a few weeks ago, and they mentioned the Butler West project, which looks like a good one. They're going to expand that dock, and I think they're going to redo parking in there and generally just make it much nicer and more accessible. But I know they're getting some static from some property owners who are back there who who dislike the idea of that being an even more utilized boat ramp. And so they had mentioned that it would be helpful potentially for port commissioners to show up to public meetings and lend our awesome prestige as port commissioners to help get that project pushed through and convince the powers that be that it's a valuable project. So I'm going to ask Parks and Rec to give us some info on when any upcoming meetings about that project might be coming up. But anybody here who is interested in maybe helping to advocate for it should consider showing up to one of those meetings. Okay. That's all I've got. Our next meeting, we're back to regular schedule, right? April 16th.
I just want to give you an update on Tom. He texted me and said he won't be here because he tripped and he got one heck of a black eye, and his doctor told him to go to the ER.
Yikes. Well, best of luck to Commissioner Rivers. Hopefully he's back at full capacity. on April 16th. But there being no other business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.